Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Lieutenant Kendrick to do.
Object! And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose! Your Honor, you had markets inside a phony transfer! Your Honor, you doctored the logbook! Damn it, Captain! You coerced the doctor!
Consider yourself in contempt!
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Mode 1.
What happened to you?
When are you gonna get some furniture?
When I get around to it.
Charlie's gonna leave me.
Why?
No mistakes in the freezer.
With everything we've been doing?
Vegas is Super Bowl cleaning out. And you gotta get an old lady.
When I get around to it. You got something else on the side?
Nothing regular.
She got something else on the side?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know what you're doing. Remember Jimmy McElwain on the yard used to say you want to be making moves on the street, have no attachments, allow nothing to be in your life that you cannot walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you spot the heat around the corner. Remember that?
For me, the sun rises and sets with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was that guy?
Nobody.
Who was that guy?
He's
I gotta
nobody.
know who he is. Who is he?
He's nobody, Neil.
Listen,
He's a legit liquor wholesaler from Las Vegas. Alan Marciano.
Chris is gonna straighten it up with you.
It's too late. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Shut up! Here's the deal. You will give Chris one last shot. After that, he fucks up, then I will finance setting you up myself, on my own, any way you want. Dominic will go with you, and my word counts. But right now, you will give him the chance. Clean up, go home. Clean up, go home.
Now, most people know that if there's one person, specifically a black male in the Manosphere I've known the longest, is my fellow dating advisor, Ron Wills. Me and him, as I mentioned on a recent video, me and him first connected sometime, I don't know the exact day, it was somewhere between August and October of 2001 via the internet. Because I was looking for advice on how to turn my ebook into a paperback. And Brother Wills was nice enough to give me some helpful advice in that regard. Now, there's quite a few black men who who are subscribers to both my YouTube channel and Ron Wills' YouTube channel. And they will probably notice that me and Ron rarely, if ever, have any type of major disagreements. I think we've had maybe 2 or 3 minor disagreements on some things, but generally, we usually tend to be on the same page. But Brother Wills, if you listen, I hope you are, man. See, I'm going to defend you in one regard, but I'm going to also say, I told you so. I told you. Because there was at least one time off the top of my head that I can think of where I had a respectful philosophical disagreement with Rom. He did a video, I want to say it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. where he basically was advising guys who are generally considered to be either alpha males or Rom's more preferred term, select males, to quit picking on and bullying beta males and non-select males. And I basically wrote in his comment section of that video, I said, Rom, I would have to respectfully disagree with you. I said, in my experience and observation, it's pretty much just the opposite. It's pretty much just the opposite. I think more non-select men, again, that's Rom's term. I don't use those terms in my book. I attribute that to Rom, his terms of select versus non-select, which is the centerpiece of a lot of discussions in the Black Manosphere in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm tending to use more alpha beta. Now, Rom has said on many occasions, he doesn't really like the terms alpha and beta. He prefers select versus non-select, but they have a lot of similarities. So basically, yeah, he said, he did a video about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, advising guys who are alpha and select to not bully or pick on guys who are beta or non-select. But I basically said, I think it's just the opposite. I think guys who are sexually frustrated beta males and romantically and sexually frustrated non-select guys are the ones who tend to want to pick fights with the alpha male, the womanizing alpha males, and the select males. I give an example with myself, and I've talked about this before. My senior in high school. My senior in high school, as most people who've been following me for a while know this story, I got a lot of attention from women. I mean, like, a lot. I mean, there's been different years in my life I've gotten an above average amount of attention from women. But if there's arguably one single year where, I mean, I was treated like I was a movie star by women and just had women like just going crazy over me, it was my senior in high school. I mean, if you talk to anybody who went to high school with me, like, and they grew up in Gary, Indiana, they'll tell you. They'll be like, oh yeah, Alan Currie, his senior year, he was the man. I mean, women went. I had women at 3 high schools in Gary, Indiana that had an unofficial Alan Currie fan club. That's how popular I was with girls, my senior high school. There were 6 high schools in Gary, Indiana, and at least 3 of those high schools had an Alan Currie fan club with a bunch of girls in it. Now, if I was a guy who was select and bullying non-select guys, I would have walked around my entire senior year in high school basically with attitude like, nah, I get more attention from girls than you guys do. Nah, I'm the shit and you're not. Nah, I fuck more women than you have. I didn't do none of that shit. It was just the opposite. I had guys trying to start fights with me because of my popularity with girls. At least, I said minimum, at least 4 or 5 times during my senior in high school, I had guys that I didn't even know, never talked to before, that tried to start a fight with me because they was like, man, I don't like you, man. You one of them pretty boy niggas, man. I don't like your ass, man. My girlfriend think you cute. And for that alone, I don't like your ass, you pretty boy type nigga, man. I'm ready to beat your ass, you pretty boy type motherfucker. And I'd be looking at these niggas like, I don't know you. Now, I usually had a crew with me, so nobody was able to get the best of me because I had a certain crew of friends that would usually step in before things escalated too deep. And then, starting with my freshman in college, I took up martial arts. So I very much knew how to defend myself. Freshman year in college, not high school. Freshman year in college, I took up martial arts. But, yeah, man, for most of my life, I've had player haters come after me with their jealousy, envy, and hatred, then vice versa. And that's been true of most of the guys I've known in my life who were like ladies' man types or womanizer types. They typically had guys who were jealous and envious of them, trying to pick fights with them more so than them flaunting their successful women in those guys' faces. But see, Rob, here's what I'm going to have to tell you, man. I kind of told you so. Here's what's interesting. Now guys are going after Rob. So he should know now that I was right in my position. Because now guys are going after Rob. A lot of guys having this attitude like, oh yeah, Rob, he one of them select niggas. Fuck him. Last night I joined a panel discussion towards the very end of a young brother named King Sigmund. And shout out to him. Me and him have generally had a good relationship. We haven't agreed on everything, but even when he's disagreed, he's always been respectful to me. But there was a guy in one of his discussions when I was listening to the part that I missed on archive that said he felt like Ron Will's delineation between select men and non-select men was bullshit. It was bullshit. And similarly, I've heard guys say to me, Alan, you do a lot of talk about this alpha beta. I think that's bullshit. I don't think there's any such thing as an alpha versus beta male. Or at minimum, if they don't disagree with the delineation totally, they'll say they disagree with my specific definition and description of what makes up an alpha male and a beta male. So let's turn this around for a second. For those guys, I'm talking to you guys who believe that delineations among men is bullshit. This is who this video is targeted, the free portion of this YouTube video is targeted towards. You guys who believe that women's delineations of men is bullshit. So I'm going to turn it around for a second. So are you telling me from a man's perspective that there's no such thing as attractive versus unattractive women? Is that what you're telling me? I'm listening. Is that what you're telling me? There's no such thing as attractive versus unattractive women. There's no such thing as women with a high degree of sex appeal and a low degree of sex appeal. Is that what you're telling me? There's no such thing between an intelligent and educated woman and an unintelligent, uneducated woman. Is that what you're telling me? There's no such thing as a marriageable woman versus a non-marriageable woman. Or similarly, a proverbial good girl type woman versus a promiscuous slut type woman. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me? Because if you want to say that women's delineations are bullshit, then you would have to also say that men's delineations of women are bullshit. You would have to. If you're going to make the argument that women's delineations of men are bullshit and extraordinarily invalid, then you're going to have to also make the argument that men's delineations of women is bullshit and invalid. Uh-oh. Is this another rant coming on? I thought Rambo, not Sylvester Stallone's Rambo, but my Rambo, I called my previous video The Last Rant. And it kind of feels like I'm going on a rant again. Yeah, this irritates me, man. One thing I pointed out on at least 24 videos over the last 2.5 years is this. I always hear men on different podcasts and live streams always highlighting and emphasizing the differences between men and women's way of thinking, our decision making, our emotional stability or instability, and so on. They're always talking about the differences. But one thing I always point out is that a lot of men don't like to highlight the similarities between men and women. They either ignore them and overlook them or underemphasize them. They either ignore them or overlook them or underemphasize them. Here's the reality, and brothers like Ron Wills knows this. Young brothers like C Boogie knows this. Who else can I think of? Big Mike from Back City Limits knows this. Trying to think of a non-black person. I'm naming all these black guys, but there's quite a few white guys, I'm sure, who know the same thing. Dude, and this is, if there's two of my 4 books I emphasize this in is Ooh, Say It Again and The Beta Male Revolution. If there's at least 2 of my 4 main books that I emphasize how women are just as similar to men are as they are different, is Ooh, Say It Again and The Beta Male Revolution. It relates to, speaking of books, it's just like I always bring up this guy's book, Daniel Bergner's book, What Do Women Want? And Daniel Bergner touches on this in his book. He basically says in so many words that there's a lot of things that men want to believe about women and choose to believe about women because it makes them sleep better at night. But it ain't true. Here are a few delineations that I would argue are where women's delineations of men are similar to men's delineations of women. And then I'll wrap up and then I'll do a brief Patreon exclusive portion. Number 1, physical attractiveness. Do you know I've literally had some men that I've heard on YouTube, on a podcast and or a live stream, that have suggested that women don't pay attention to looks in the same way that men do with women. Nigga, are you serious? Answer, dog face, here. If you in that small percentage of men who actually believe that, then you know what that tells me? You ain't never hung around no women. You ain't never hung around no women. You ain't never hung around no women for any length of time. If you think women don't care about men's looks, then number 1, you're an idiot. I'm just gonna say that. I don't even like to call guys idiot. You're an idiot if you're in that category. And number 2, you've never hung around. Dude, I've been around women and seen them react to certain men versus other men. Like I was talking about that a few videos ago. I said, one of the times you can see women's real side come out is when women are in the company of an attractive male stripper with a really, really nice physique. Shit. Big Mike from Maxine Limbs, he talked about this one time last year. He said that's when you'll really see women's real side come out, is when they're around like a guy who has the physique of a male stripper. Shit. Again, if I had to highlight myself, honestly, going back to, among other years, my senior in high school. Dude, I used to have women go crazy over me mainly because of my looks. And a lot of times in front of their boyfriends. Like their boyfriend would be standing like 2, 3, 4 feet away. And they would look at me and be like, damn, you fine. God damn, you fine. What is your name? You are fine. That's the type of reactions, I hate to be conceited like that, but that's the type of reactions I used to get when I was a senior in high school. I'd be at like a basketball game or a football game or some party, and girls would just come up to me and they'd be like, damn, you are fine. Here's my number, and you call me, you fine. So you telling me that women don't have reactions to men based on their looks, and whether it be their facial looks, their physique, or a combination of both? Shit, you are stupid if you don't believe women have preferences for physical appearance. But I've literally heard some men, not a lot, but some men, they'll say, oh, women don't really care about looks. Where are y'all getting that from? Here's the deal. If a woman wants you as just a platonic friend, yeah, she don't care about your looks. Why would she? Because you're a platonic friend. So that's when a woman's going to give you the impression that looks don't matter, is when you're a woman's platonic friend. Secondly, is if a woman is just with you to use you for your money. If a woman's with you because she's using you for access to your financial resources and material possessions, do you honestly think she's going to tell you straightforwardly that you're physically unattractive or sexually unappealing? Do you really think that? Come on, fellas, wake up. Quit being stupid. So just like men categorize women as attractive or unattractive or sexually appealing or not sexually appealing, women do the same thing with men. Next category, marriageable versus unmarriageable, or similarly, good girls versus slut. This is well known. Dr. Sigmund Freud was one of the first prominent people to point out with his Madonna horror complex that men tend to put women in two general categories. We tend to look at women as either marriageable good girls or kinky promiscuous sluts, which could arguably be called unmarriageable women. That's what Dr. Sigmund Freud in the 19th century proposed and asserted, that most men want to marry the women who are the proverbial good girl, the prudish, strictly monogamy-oriented good girl types, but we only want to have casual sex with the women who we perceive to be kinky, promiscuous sluts. What makes you think women are any different? What makes you think women are any different? What woman wants to marry a guy that she know gonna be fucking 5 different women a week, every week? Unless she's talking about being in an open marriage or something. What woman wants to marry a guy like that? But they want to fuck a guy like that? When it comes to casual fuck buddy, they don't care if a man is fucking a bunch of other women. They just want his good dick. What is hard to understand about that? What is hard to understand about that? I can name a lot of women who've wanted me as their fuck buddy when I was in my 20s and 30s, but they didn't want me as a boyfriend or a husband. I've talked about that on a number of videos. I can name a lot of women I've dealt with in my life who, for fuck buddy status, they welcome me with open arms. They were basically like, Alan, I want you to be my fuck buddy. But when it came to me being their boy, I give you a perfect example. The woman I always bring up, Sharon. The woman I dealt with in California that I always refer to as Sharon. She's a classic example of that. She loved me as a fuck buddy. She loved me as a casual fuck buddy. But the moment I suggested that we escalate our relationship up to something more emotionally profound, long-term, and strictly monogamous, basically a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, she was basically like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. She was like, you don't make enough money for me. You too kinky and promiscuous. You too dominant and uncompromising. She was like, hell no. And I've had a few other women that had that reaction to me. The few women that I wanted to upgrade our relationship from fuck buddies to more of a boyfriend-girlfriend, they were like, no. Men do the same thing with women all the time. I know a lot of men, they'll love a certain woman as their fuck buddy, but if that woman starts talking about upgrading to a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband and wife, they'll be like, oh, fuck no. You ain't marriage material. So what makes y'all think women any different? Why? Why y'all think women are different? Women are the same, man. Women have guys they just strictly want to be fuck buddies with. Then they have other guys that they look at as more boyfriend material, husband material, or in either a third category would be some guys they just look at. Y'all know my 4 roles. I said there's always 4 roles a woman's going to put you in as a man. There's 4 roles a woman's going to always put you in within as quickly as the first 5 to 10 minutes after she meets you. And that would be casual fuck buddy role, long-term boyfriend / future husband role, pay for play role, such as a trick or a sugar daddy, or purely platonic friend. Those are the 4 general roles that women are always going to put you in. Usually by no later than the end of their first conversation with you. You're either going to be in a casual fuck buddy role, the long-term boyfriend / future husband role, the pay for play short term or long term, money for sex, and purely platonic friend. Again, man, I give you one more. The idea of sowing your wild oats. For decades, if not centuries, there's been this notion that men should be able to sow their wild oats between, say, the age of 16 and 24, or between the age of 18 and 29. And then once the man reaches the age of, say, 30, 35, 40, then he finds a good girl, a monogamy-oriented good girl to settle down with and get married and have children with. Now, a lot of men are in favor of that. The notion of a man sowing his wild oats. But yet, I hear men constantly on different live streams and podcasts criticizing women who do the same fucking thing. You with your hypocritical asses. When women want to be promiscuous between 16 and 24 or 18 and 29, and then when they reach 30 want to find a nice monogamy-oriented gentleman to marry and have children with, y'all like, oh, hell no. She's an alpha widow. She done had too many dicks in her pussy. Your hypocrisy and your sense of judgment is causing you to become delusional. Let me repeat that. Your hypocrisy, your sexual hypocrisy, and anybody who owns my book, who said again, no, I want to say one full chapter where I go in on guys who are sexually hypocritical. I can't stand you motherfuckers. I'm just going to be blunt. I can't stand you motherfuckers. You got men who are sexually hypocritical, extremely judgmental, and the end result is y'all become delusional and say stupid shit. Because y'all don't want to accept the fact that women ain't really that much different than you are. That's what it really comes down to. Let's just put it blunt. A lot of you men's problem is not that you can't handle that women are so different than you are. The reality is you really can't handle that women are more similar to you than you want them to be. They'll cheat just like you. They'll cheat on their husband, fiance, or boyfriend just like you'll cheat on your wife, fiance, or girlfriend. Y'all don't like that shit. They'll watch porn just like you and masturbate just like you. I know about masturbation. Women have paid me for phone sex. Hundreds of women have paid me for phone sex. So how can you men with a straight face say stuff like alpha versus beta is bullshit, select versus non-select is bullshit, but yet you same guys who saying this shit will always be talking about the difference between an attractive and unattractive woman, a sexually appealing woman and a woman who's not sexually appealing, an intelligent and educated woman versus a woman who's not intelligent and educated, a woman who's marriageable versus a woman who's unmarriageable, a woman who's a proverbial good girl versus a woman who's a kinky, promiscuous slut. But you don't think women have those same delineations. You want to casually fuck slutty women, but you don't want to marry them. Guess what? A lot of women want to fuck slutty men, but they don't want to marry them. Wake up. What's wrong with some of y'all? I mean, seriously, dude. What's wrong with some of y'all? I'm trying my best to prevent myself from going in on a lot of you men, but y'all make it so easy for me to go in here because y'all say stupid, delusional shit. Women have preferences, just like you do. There's some men they look at and say, God damn, he's fine and sexy. I will fuck him right now. Just like you guys look at some women and say, God damn, she fine and sexy. I will fuck her right now. Women have certain guys that do that for them. But then they have other guys that are like, oh, I need to get to know him first. What that means is he ain't really creating no instant animal attraction in me. I need to see what he got to offer me non-sexually and financially before I decide to give him some pussy. That's all that means. When a woman says, I need to take some time to get to know you. You don't have that animal attraction. I know that frustrates you. You don't. Because when a guy generates that real, raw, animal lust attraction, that woman's going to say, God damn, I want to give you this pussy right now. Right now. I don't even have to know your last name. I fucked women who didn't even know my fucking name in my life. Definitely when I was in my 20s and most of my 30s. I fucked a lot of women. They didn't even know my fucking last name. They just looked at me and said, God damn, you fine. I want to give you some pussy. Wake up. Quit being naive. Quit being delusional. And quit being a jealous, envious, player-hater type motherfucker. And y'all know, man, Ron Wills is my boy, man. So I don't, man, you know, if y'all have just a respectful, philosophical disagreement with Ron, go at it. You know, Ron is a man. He can handle himself. But if somebody going at Ron in an unethical way, then I'm a brother who's going to come to his defense in a vehement way. Because I look out for my dogs. I ain't going to let nobody unfairly attack my boy Ron or anybody else I'm fond of. Believe that shit. In my Patreon exclusive portion, speaking of this panel discussion I had with this young brother named King Sigma, we briefly mentioned this thing about planting seeds in a woman's head. What is that about? I'll discuss that in today's Patreon exclusive portion.